Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist and Hank Goldberg in Las Vegas. Hank, it's windy and cold again today. This weather out here is absolutely nuts, and the results of these basketball games is nuts as well. Gonzaga, #1 team in the country, had crushed St. Mary's twice this year. 15-point favorite yesterday. St. Mary's outplayed them totally, and St. Mary's is in. So is Gonzaga, of course, as well.
Yeah, well, yesterday I think Wright was supposed to be a wise guy game too. Wright State.
Yeah, it was. I had that at loss.
There was one game I thought that there was a couple of good games on the East Coast. I had an over that came through yesterday, and that was one of the other games that I did not have the winner, but I had the over, and the side I had came back and almost caught up, but they didn't make it. But I didn't know much about those schools yesterday, and I had to pick them on the show, and I had a lousy show. And on Monday, I had every winner. So who knows about these play-in games with these smaller schools?
Well, it's difficult. Some years it bounces your way, and other years it doesn't. For me, this has been, one good day, one bad day, back and forth. It's been that kind of a basketball season for me, which is really unusual. I usually do pretty well, but not this year. It's been rough. Hopefully we can finish.
Yeah, they opened up the lines on the Kentucky Derby futures this week, and the horse that I talked to you about on Monday opened up at 20-1. The Phil Mott horse. Of course, the Baffert horses are all highly rated, and the Rebel Stakes will be interesting on Saturday. They're going to split the card today. They'll draw, and we'll see about how many of those West Coast horses are in. We've talked about it before, but with the shutdown at Santa Anita going on, all those West Coast horses are shipping.
I just ask your opinion if you care to share it. 21 or 23 horses died in Santa Anita, and they closed the track. Is there any
21?
Idea? 21. Do you have any idea what caused these deaths?
Yeah, there are several factors. One, the condition of the racetrack. Two, the racing secretary, P.J. Campo, trying to fill fields, forcing horses who aren't that sound to run. And the horsemen, several of them, not all of them high-grade trainers, trying to stay on his good side and running horses who aren't 100%. Those are factors. And but basically, the racetrack was in terrible shape, and horses were breaking down. Really? And all that rain wasn't helping the condition of the track. And by the way, 21 horses breaking down since December. Unheard of.
No, it's absolutely incredible. It's being an animal.
They fired the guy who was in charge of maintaining the track because the guy who runs the track for the ownership there, wanted to bring his friends in from the East Coast. And they had a first-rate guy, a guy named Moore, who was the track superintendent. Now they brought him back to try and fix it.
Oh, wow. I remember back in the day when I had my own stable of horses on the East Coast, and I remember having pressure to put horses in that, that you do get that kind of pressure because they don't want to run 3-4 horses. They want to have 6-8 horses if they can or more. And they do put pressure on you to do that if you want stable room. If you want to be on the track instead of having to ship your horses in every day. These guys have a lot of pressure, and I guess that's what Campo was doing. But that's standard. I've seen that before. And
he's a bully. He's a bully. And he's a known bully, and he had that reputation when he worked in New York, and he got fired in New York, and his buddy on the East Coast brought him down to Florida, and he did a lousy job as racing secretary in Florida. And guys have left there. A lot of the horsemen stopped racing in Florida at Gulfstream, and it helped the Tampa cards, and it helped Oaklawn.
Wow.
And this guy's a known thug.
Wow. Wow. Well, I hope they put him in jail. That would be nice. But
they can't do that.
I know. I'm just.
He didn't do anything to break laws.
Well, there could be an argument there if he's killing horses.
There's no argument. It's a private business, and they can run the business the way they want. He didn't do anything to break the law. That's the way they ran the business. That
was just a personal.
But they can fire him.
That was just a personal wish on my behalf. You know, if I owned a horse and I was forced to run him and he died, I'd probably file a civil lawsuit against the son of a bitch.
You didn't have to run him.
But anyway, we're back to basketball. Got a lot of games today. You know, yesterday the ACC teams, all those games went over, and you know that's kind of unusual. A lot of times in these tournaments, that they play a little tight, a little scared, and probably conservative. But boy, those games flew over the total.
Well, Notre Dame played it fast and loose going in yesterday, and they won pretty easily. But today you've got Clemson, North Carolina State, and I think North Carolina State's got a good chance to win that game. But these are early games. Virginia Tech is playing Miami. Last week they played, and Virginia Tech walloped to Miami. Miami won by 7 points, but Miami has no defense, so I don't think that had anything to do with any kind of factor. Miami can't play defense, and they're not a very good team, and they were winless on the road this year. But Notre Dame plays Louisville today, and I suspect that Notre Dame won't be able to score as many points against Louisville as they did yesterday.
You're probably right. I agree. Anything else on the card that looks exciting?
And you got Pittsburgh is playing Syracuse, and that won't be as high scoring a game as they had yesterday.
Yeah, that's got a 130 total on it, and it hasn't moved. It's been, well, actually, it went up a tick. Went up to 130 and a half. Yeah, it's well, the North Carolina game goes. North Carolina State Clemson goes off in 21 minutes. That starts soon. You got the West, the Pac-12 out there with absolutely. They've had a terrible year. They got 4 games going on today. You've got the Big Ten has a couple of games. Big East, Butler against Providence and DePaul against St. John's. 2 potentially really good games.
Yeah, DePaul's pretty good. They got a couple of players who can play. Struz is one of them, and another guy with a longer name than that. And they've been very competitive. That'll be a good game.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's our time, 4 o'clock and 6:30. And you got the South Eastern Conference, the SEC, Georgia, Missouri, and you got Vanderbilt, Texas A&M. Both Missouri and Texas A&M are about 3.5 point favorites. Then, of course, you got the Big 12 with Oklahoma State, TCU, West Virginia, Oklahoma. Oklahoma's 6.5 and TCU's 4. So you got some good games.
That'll be a good game too.
This is I love conference tournaments. I mean, my results have been mixed so far. But I'm hoping to get better real quick.
Well, the big news is that Duke will be at full strength. Zion's going to play, and Michigan State will be at full strength. They get their good guy back. Michigan State's a big favorite in their tournament now.
Well, they've been awesome, and their dominance of Michigan. A lot of people think it should be Michigan and Michigan State in the final for that, and the way that Michigan State beats them every time, that's not very competitive on the as far as history is concerned.
Meanwhile, I was talking with a friend of mine who used to be assistant to the commissioner of the NFL, and he was telling me about how he always envied the baseball trading season that used to steal all the thunder during this time of year.
Right.
And now it's turned around, and he got a pop from one of the big-time reporters for the ESPN, or for the NFL rather, and he said that now the NFL has stolen baseball's thunder, and they're getting all the headlines now because now it's the free agent season for the NFL, and of course the Cleveland Browns are making some tremendous moves right now.
Oh my God, yes. You know they're 14-1 to win the Super Bowl now.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable.
And the Giants, they're getting rid of everybody.
Yeah, they kept Eli, but they got rid of everybody, just about everybody else. But they got Saquon and Eli, and that's what they got so far.
Yep.
The Browns are for real. And when you look at that division, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore, it's not out of the question that they should be favored to win that thing.
Well, Baltimore, I think, has really gotten hurt in free agency. They've lost a lot of good players.
Le'Veon Bell goes to the Jets.
Baltimore loses Suggs.
Yep.
And they lose their star inside linebacker. That's going to hurt them.
Antonio Brown goes to the Raiders, but I don't quite understand what they're doing out there. I mean, they got rid of Mack and they got rid of Amari Cooper, and then they bring in Antonio Brown. That's some questionable decisions out there.
Well, they're on the move now.
That's for sure.
They signed the left tackle from New England, and they're making some moves. And they didn't give up anything for Brown. They gave up a 3 and a 5.
There's no question that these guys come with their head on straight and they decide to play. They're extremely talented, but you don't really know what you're going to get. Mentally,
What happens if the Raiders sign Le'Veon Bell?
He's going to the Jets. Bell is now committed to the Jets. It's
Is that official?
I don't know if it's signed, sealed, and delivered, but it sounds that way. That's what I got this morning.
You can have Adam Gase.
It also sounds like Miami will get rid of Tannehill and he'll end up with the Jets as well as a backup.
Yeah. Miami's having trouble getting another guy, quarterback.
Yeah, they are. The Bridgewater turned down their offer. He decided to stay as a backup with New Orleans because, well, he probably figures Breeze is going to retire one of these days and he wants to step in there. So, very interesting stuff going on.
Yeah, I thought that, Ingram not signing with New Orleans, he's moving on. That surprised me a little bit. I thought he loved living in New Orleans. But they found a replacement right away.
Yeah, they did.
ESPN launched its gaming show on Monday.
I saw it.
Wasn't bad.
No, I watched it on Tuesday. I missed the Monday show. I read about it, and then I watched the Tuesday show. I thought it was well done. The production value
One
was
of
good.
your close personal friends got a call, and if he gets permission from CBS Sportsline, He's going to be making Friday appearances doing horse racing there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yes.
How about that?
I like it.
Congratulations.
Well, I have to get permission first, but other guys, Furman, who I worked with on CBS show, he's also on Fox, and I don't think CBS will have a problem with it as long as it doesn't interfere with my work there. And they said that I can tape and at my convenience, and they want me for horse racing and for, you know, things like the Final Four, you know, as long as I can get permission. So that'll be good. I'm looking forward to it. I like their show. I thought they did a good job.
You know, I did too. I thought the production value was very good, and I'm really happy about these shows coming out. And ever since legalized gambling has happened now, and you're bringing more information to the public. I mean, and they have some good handicappers on that site too. I was very impressed. And Todd Furman.
Well, they told me that for horse racing, I'm the guy. So
well,
we'll see what happens with it. Hopefully, it'll come through.
And that's a good choice by them because you do very well. Todd, you mentioned Todd Furman. He's on the other show that's on Fox. I think it's Lock It In or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
Todd's really good. I like Todd. I know him.
I like Todd too.
I've worked with him in the past. He's a very smart young man. No question about that. But I like the ESPN show better. I think it's a little bit more on the professional side, and I like the production value of that show a little bit better. Not that the other one's bad. It's just I think the other one looks a little bit better to me.
Well, they've got a reservoir of talent that they can bring in there. You know, they'll bring Van Pelt on the show from time to time. They got Seth Greenberg for basketball. They can throw those guys on, and it really helps the the elements of that show.
They got this fellow from San Francisco, Todd, it's Joe Fortenbaugh. He's been in broadcasting for a lot of years. I've heard him before. He does an excellent job. He did a really good spot there yesterday. I like him. He's good. Some of the others I don't know, but they presented well. So I'm optimistic about the kind of information that's out there and bringing the fans, you know, up to date on what's going on in the world. It's hard to win, laying 11 to 10, but the more information you have, the better chance you get. So.
Yep.
Anything else, Hank?
Well, anyway, on these conference tournaments, you got. I'll be curious to see what Kansas does, but I think there's some dark horses in that one. I think in the East Coast, I think that the winner from last year is in a little bit of trouble. I'm looking at Seton Hall and a couple other teams who are playing pretty well right now coming into that tournament. That'll be a good one to watch. Out west, Washington will be the favorite, but Arizona State could make a run. The Pac-12 has a couple other teams. Oregon's not too bad. There's some of these tournaments. The ACC, I think Virginia could be the team to beat, but Duke at full strength is going to be a factor. And North Carolina is playing very well right now. Everybody's looking at Michigan and Michigan State in the Big Ten. I just talked to a friend of mine who works for CBS. He's going to Chicago this weekend. He's going to be directing their telecasts, and he's looking forward to that. So there'll be some good basketball to watch this weekend, that's for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about it. I know you are too. And good luck with your picks, Hank. And everybody go to jimfeist.com for Hank's plays and mine. Thank you, Hank. We'll talk again Friday.
Okay, Jim.
Thank you.